Hi, I'm Bob Steinert from SCORE in Oklahoma City. Welcome to Business Insights. Today's topic is government contracting, particularly the federal government. There's a lot of business out there. In fact, the federal government is the largest single customer in the United States. And when you think about the amount of spending that gets strewn around all of the states, it's an incredible opportunity. Our guest today is Cecil Furr. Cecil is also a member of SCORE in Oklahoma City, and he's got an enormous amount of experience and background, both in military and in government contractors, working with them and for them. So today, Cecil Furr. Welcome, Cecil.
Thank you.
Cecil, first of all, what does the federal government do that encourages small business to reach out for contracts?
Well, to start with, they mandate that 23% of the federal spending goes to small business. So, and they also put quotas on the large businesses like Lockheed Martin to include in their business small businesses. So they have subcontractors that are small business. So if you don't work directly for the government, you may work for a government contractor, a large government contractor, as a sub. So there's lots of opportunities for small businesses to get involved in government contracting, and the government is very much interested in that happening.
Wow, it seems so with a 23% mandate allocation. In my small business, how would I know what kinds of products or services the government is looking for?
Well, there's a lot of ways to do research. You can go out to FedBizOpps and look at the contract solicitations that the government's posting and see if you've got products that they're looking for. You can do a keyword search. You can also go out to the Goods and Services Administration, GSA, and look at their catalogs to see if you have products that the government is buying. So there's lots of ways to do market research. And you can also see who's selling it, who's selling the products, and you can see the large companies that are participating in contracts. So you have an opportunity to see what you can sell to the government and what you can participate with or team with other companies in solicitation, answering a solicitation. So there's lots of opportunities and to find how and what.
Yeah, that's very convenient. It almost seems simpler to find out what this big customer needs than it does your private sector customers. But how does a business apply now?
Well, it's not. You have to go through a program. It's called SAM.
SAM.
And you go in and you register your company. You'll ask for certain information. You'll have to have certain. You have to have your company structure. You'll have to have a DUNS number, a tax number. There's some prerequisites that you need to follow, but it's explained in the SAM program. It's an online application. You get into SAM, and then you can register yourself as a government contractor.
And what is the value of registering? How does that work once registered?
You're not going to be able to answer a solicitation if you don't have your company in SAM. Okay. You also need to get a NAICS code. What a NAICS code is it describes the kind of product. It's kind of like a model number, if you will, that attaches to what you do. So if you're into 5300, it may be government services, engineering services. That NAICS code is a shorthand for the types of services that you want to sell. You've got to have that registered in SAMs. So that by getting into SAMs is the prerequisite for the government contract.
Yeah. And then you let you see what the government is buying. Yeah. And how well that maps with what you're selling.
In reality, you don't have to be a government contractor to look first. You can go into FedBizOpps and the Goods and Services catalog without being a government contractor.
Well, that's a good tip because that lets you see whether government contracting might be an appropriate avenue for a business to take even before you endeavor to register.
Sure.
Yeah, that's very good. You mentioned earlier big business and small business alike, and working for a big business as a subcontractor. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, like I said, there's a requirement for large businesses to include small businesses in their bids. So if one avenue for getting into government contracting is to sell to a large company as a subcontractor. When you're first getting into government contracting, you're not going to have the past performance experience or the resources to answer one of these bids. Some of these large bids take, lots of resources to respond to.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you may have unique skills or new skills that a large company has not developed yet. And if they're looking for, it's part of the requirement. So you can market your company to a large company, and they would include you on their team when they're answering a response. So that's a way for you to get into government contracting indirectly, by not directly priming a contract with the federal government, but actually working as a sub with another prime.
Oh, yeah. You read about it here in Oklahoma City. We read quite a bit about the Tinker and the Primes, they call it.
Right.
And they invite numerous small businesses to that event to interact with Prime.
Exactly, because it's a challenge.
Yeah.
They are required to include primes. Primes are required to include small businesses, but sometimes they just can't find them.
That's interesting.
So there's an active program to look for and include small businesses in government contracting.
As a small business, how would I look for a prime outside of an event like Tinker and the Primes, and how do I attract primes to me?
Well, there's the FedBiz Ops has a history of who's.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you can go look at the contracts that are in place to see who the prime is.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In the area that you're interested in providing products.
Very convenient. Very
Yeah.
convenient.
So that FedBiz Ops is one way.
Yeah. Okay, good. Are there any priorities that the government applies to contractors, such as a minority, women, or any other groups that are given an edge because of their circumstance?
Well, SCORE is sponsored by the Small Business Administration. If you go to the Small Business Administration website, you'll see that there's a government contracting tab. In that government contracting tab, it talks about the 8A program. The 8A program is a program that's aimed at small businesses. When you apply for and are approved as an 8A program, you'll find that there's certain work that's set aside for small business. It can either be set aside directly as a direct set aside, or it be set aside as only 8A companies can compete. So you would compete only with people your own size. So, and one of the things, if you have unique skills and you are an 8A program, in the 8A program, the large companies that want to get some of that work will solicit you. They will look for you.
Boy.
Because they're going to need, in order to get to that work, it has to be bid from an 8A. So
Yeah.
they may partner with you as your sub.
Yeah. Ironically. How do I register for the 8A program?
Well, if you go to the Small Business Administration website, like I said, in the government contracting tab, you'll see the whole program is defined there, what the requirements are, what the limitations are.
Okay.
One thing I would encourage you to do if you're wanting to get into the 8A program, there's a time limit. So you can only be in the program for a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want to get into the 8A program unless you're ready and can take advantage.
Ready to act.
Until you can take advantage of it.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard the term a number of times, sole sourcing. What is that all about?
Well, the government can actually just give you work. It happens very rarely. But let's say you have a very unique product that's very hard to find, and you've demonstrated through working with your small business office that you have good skills in that area. They can set that work aside for you without any competition at all. You still have to provide a response. How am I actually going to do? But you're not competing with anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
So either you're good or you're not good. And if they're not satisfied with you, then they'll go find another company and say,
Yeah.
we'll give the work to you. They again have to make a proposal for how they're going to do the work.
Yeah.
But set aside is a good way for small companies to get started. It's just not that easy.
Not that easy.
A lot of
yeah.
companies think that they get the 8A, they're going to just get set-asides. It doesn't work that way. You have to do a lot of the other legwork as well. You have to work with a small business office. You have to, sell your program, sell your products, sell your services so that they know that you're available and that they can set it aside to you with some kind of confidence.
Yeah, it's marketing, just like in the private sector.
Exactly. You're marketing to that
To that
government contractor.
constituency.
Yeah.
Yeah. And therefore, your primes are just as much a target market as are the governments.
Right.
Sure, that's very, very interesting to think about it that way. What are some of the resources that are available to small businesses interested in contracting?
Well, every agency has a small business office. There's one at Tinker. In fact, if you look on in the library on the SCORE, Oklahoma City SCORE webpage, you'll see a checklist for how to get into government contracting.
Oh.
A couple of resources that we've put in our library. That was developed by and provided to us by the Tinker Small Business Office. The FAA has a small business office. There are lots of resources. And you have the Small Business Administration. They are very much interested in supporting and helping small businesses get into government contracting.
Yes, as you mentioned
and also,
earlier.
The tech schools, like for example, Francis Tuttle. They have
Francis
a
Tuttle,
program.
yeah. The Moore Norman and
Yeah.
Metrotech and what
Right,
have
they
you.
all
Yeah, they
have-
do. They have organizations that focus on the OBAN,
OBAN, yeah.
Oklahoma Bid Assistance
Yeah.
Network.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's lots
a
of
lot
resources.
of resources.
A lot of
There's
resources.
That's
And
very
you
good
have SCORE.
to know. And of course SCORE, yeah. And we're fortunate to have people
Yeah.
like you who have a lot of experience with that. I wanted to go on and talk about how to respond to a request for proposal, but I think we should save that for the next Business Insights. That in itself is a long
responding for
topic.
proposals a whole new topic. It's
Yeah.
not as easy as it appears. You have to have past performance. You have to have a technical proposal. You have to know how to price. You have to know how to present that in a way that is compliant with the instructions.
Yeah.
So there's a lot involved in, a lot of strategies involved in responding to a technical proposal.
Well, very good. We'll make that definitely a topic for another Business Insights webcast. So thank you for being here, and thank you all for focusing in on Business Insights from Oklahoma City SCORE. And we'll see you again next time.